Hello and welcome to Holistic Circle Podcast, Spiritual Conversation. My name is Philipp Kobald. We are reaching out to people who are passionate about spreading light, love, and joy. And from beautiful London, Canada, Caren Carnegie. Caren, go. Managed again. How is it correctly?
Caren Carnegie, like Carnegie Hall. No relation, though. No relation. Not I'm aware.
I have one job.
I think you did great.
No, I tell you, one day they're going to cut all those introductions to one very funny YouTube video and it's going to get 1 million views.
Dribbling first. Yeah, exactly. That's great. Leave it. These are the best, right? Not everything should be scripted, you know?
It's really not with me. And so let's start. This will be already we're laughing and we're enjoying, and I think this will be very light and a positive podcast. I have all kind of people from many different backgrounds, and so many times we have to go through tragic stories, extreme stories. And I think this time we're going to laugh and enjoy and be about health, and it's going to be a wonderful, relaxing podcast. So everybody out there who looking for some time to enjoy, stay with us. We're going to have a great time. Please, Caren, give us a little bit of a background, a little bit introduce yourself, and then super smart questions are coming.
I'm ready. All right. So my name's Caren Carnegie, and I live just outside of London, Ontario, in Stratford. And I call myself an intuitive momentum coach. And the reason why I came to that is because I am certified as a personal trainer and I am certified as a spiritual life coach. But I caught myself trying to fit into those boxes and I couldn't. And to be honest, Philip, I didn't want to. I didn't want to fit into those boxes. So then I started really looking at, what is happening with my clients and members when we're working together. And the common theme is that they're gaining momentum in their lives. So that's where I came up with Intuitive Momentum Coach. So it's kind of a broader kind of umbrella title for those things that I specialize in. And why I chose to specialize in personal training and spiritual life coaching was, like many people, that's where my own story took me. It started with a desire to focus on my health from a physical standpoint, because my body was crying out for help. I was in survival mode, and spirituality wasn't even on my radar at that time. In hindsight, I mean, it started much longer, but it wasn't on my radar then. My focus was to shine the spotlight on my body. So then I ended up hiring a personal trainer. Now, right before this, I had no knowledge of the gym, and nor did I even picture myself in my mind of what was involved in that. I didn't see myself in what was being portrayed. I was scared to walk into a public gym setting because I was scared I was going to do something wrong. And I had injured myself leading up to this as a result of drinking. At that time, I was really reliant on alcohol. So I decided to hire a personal trainer to get the guidance and knowledge that I needed to gain some confidence. And then COVID-19 happened, and then the gyms were closed. So then but I wanted to keep that fire burning inside of me. I had lit a bit of a spark, and I started noticing that my body felt better, that my mind was functioning with a bit more clarity. I felt able to take on more challenges in my life, challenges that I felt so separate from my body. Things were starting to move a little bit nicer. And then COVID happened, the gyms were closed. So I started working out at home the best I knew how with what I had, which was next to nothing. So I started teaching myself certain moves. I would work a bit virtually with my trainer. And that went on for a while, but I was able to keep that little fire going inside of me to keep motivated. And then it wasn't until 2022 that little signs kept coming to me, like different books that would pop up in my feed or different thoughts, different things popping into my awareness about spirituality. And leading up to this, my feet were firmly planted on the ground. Like that was just not even on my radar. Life happened to me. This is what was happening in my life that's what it was going to be. And then I had a bit of a experience where the message was very clear that it was time now that I had work to do. And this came in a bit of a vision for me while I was right before bed, while I was kind of relaxed and sleeping. And this vision will always stick with me. And the message was clear. It's time to stop drinking. The fun's over. You've got to get to work. Like, it is time now. So then I started reading more. So that passion for self-learning when it came to fitness, I started doing with spirituality as well. So it started with quantum and, this, and then just different pieces of knowledge everywhere, and learning, and journaling, trusting the insights that I was receiving for myself and writing them down. And then that's where Transform started. That's where it was born, with insights that I received to me. Fast forward a little bit, and the changes that I was making in my life, physically, spiritually, mentally, it was all very incremental. It wasn't perfect. I didn't stop drinking until 2022 when I had this calling to do so. So it was very small steps, but they were all leading me in the right direction. And so now, when I started working with members for the very first time, what started happening was, wait a minute, while I was planning their workouts or their recommendations for outside of the gym, I still was thinking that this was really focused more on personal training. I didn't fully understand the bigger picture, as we're not meant to in the beginning. But what started happening was, holy moly, I wasn't just receiving my own intuitive guidance from my higher guides. I was tapping into theirs too. So I was receiving guidance, next steps for other people. So, and it wasn't alarming. It felt like a remembering, like a part of me I had recalled. And then even in certain other experiences, I actually was able to connect to a family member that had passed for a member. So I realized, wait a minute, and I didn't have a name for it then, but I was channeling guidance from their higher guides, people who'd had to see. It wasn't, and I explain to people, it's not about who's delivering the message, it's the message here for you. And some of the messages had nothing to do with their workouts or some of them had to do with some notes physically, but it was about other areas in their life where perhaps things were feeling a little bit stuck. And that's where everything started coming together. The body is so much a part of this big picture. Our body is made up of energy. And sure enough, when people started looking at these aspects of their lives where, wait a minute, I didn't realize that maybe I wasn't moving through life with ease, that when that was happening, my joints would flare up and I would get some inflammation. So it's very much what's happening energetically in our life really influences the body, which is why I do it all. And I haven't heard of a personal trainer who's also a psychic channeler. And I can't, it felt so good, like I was coming home to a piece of myself when I discovered all of this coming together. So that's what I do.
Okay. When you first time meet you or see you in the first second, you really can not anymore pick up on your old life. And most probably, had we prepared this conversation in a meet and greet, I would have even told you, let's not even mention your old life. Because I always think once people have moved on, it's not even necessary anymore to go back at the beginning. Because now you're sitting here, you're so fresh, you're so full of new life and new experiences that these old stories from before look like a distant relative that no longer basically have a role to play.
Yeah.
So we should have had a meet and greet, and I would have I've advised you to just move on into the light, because this is where you are right now. You look so healthy, you look so fresh, you look so positive, you have fully transformed. And it almost feels out of place to talk about this life, that I cannot see you drinking, I cannot see you doing harmful, energetic behavior. You clearly have moved on.
Where it was so, you know what, and I agree with you. I don't ever spend a lot of time there anymore. I don't beat myself up about it. But it's important for people to realize too, and like many people, you know, how did you get to where you are? It's because I walked it. You know, I walked through the hard stuff. I went and I looked in the dark corners. It took me quite some time to do it. And I became a spiritual life coach. So it would provide me a flashlight to look in those dark corners. You know, I never had the inclination of doing it to serve others. It was to serve myself. But of course, the universe has a bigger picture. It was always to help others. But I can truly, and it provides hope for people too, that, you know, don't don't wait for your conditions to change. You know, that you are the one that is the catalyst to make these moves in your life. You know, don't accept what is. You know, if it's not giving you that light inside of you where you feel like you're in survival mode, there's so much out there. And show yourself compassion. That was a huge thing too. And I say it all the time. Give yourself grace. Give yourself compassion. Give yourself love, because that, I feel like, is the secret to a better world. Because it isn't until we accept and appreciate ourselves for who we are that we can truly accept and appreciate others. If we don't, I feel like we're just walking around pretending. So really start with yourself, appreciate, have compassion for yourself, love for yourself, because then we can go about in this world with a true appreciation for others. Are we going to agree with everyone's choices? Absolutely not, because we're all living this life differently out of different lenses. And people are doing the best that they can with what they know. So that, I feel like, if I can just get people accepting and appreciating themselves through fitness, spiritual life coaching, being the guide, you know, to get them on the right path. And they're doing all the work. Like I say, I'm there setting the vibe. They're doing the work, that they can look at others with different eyes as well. They look at their own reflection with different eyes. Their reflection's been looking back at them, just praying for the moment that that they see what their reflection sees, how beautiful they are.
That,
So
then basically the most obvious question now is to simply the clients, you have age groups, male, females, where you work with them, you have your studio, or you're going to fitness studios, or is it online? So those basic questions that get them out of the way.
I'm glad you asked that, because I work with everybody. I've worked with different age groups, male and female. And usually what is the sort of the initial call for people to connect with me is something going on physically with their body. Maybe physically they're not feeling well, or they feel nervous going into the gym, or they have those more surface layer kind of feelings. And then we go a little bit deeper, but male, female, all different ages. And I work with people one-on-one at a gym here in Stratford. I am creating a studio style one-on-one gym here at my property. We live out in the country, so surrounded by trees. So a different experience for them, one that fosters healing on all levels. And virtually. So I work with people virtually. So like this, where I'm leading their workout. So it's like we're together, but we're not. And I promote minimal equipment so people can work virtually from home in the comfort of their own home if they don't feel confident going to a gym setting. So we honor that. And then tailored programming. So people who are more familiar with the gym setting, more confident to go out on their own. I design workouts that are tailored for their body, what their body is asking for, that's sprinkled with aspects of them. That's really important. So just by asking the right questions and listening to the answers, I can create and design recommendations for them based on what they love to do and what makes them who they are. So tailored programming as well. So there's all different kinds of options. So if we're not vicinity-wise close together, that we can work together. And then I do offer spiritual life coaching too for people who just aren't ready to step into the physical fitness aspect of things, that we can kind of start inside first and work our way out. So there's all different kinds of options for people.
You mentioned now a couple of times people who do not feel comfortable going to the gym. That is an interesting one. I never came across. So is it a big thing that I'm not aware of? A lot of people are not feel confident to go into gym. Is that a thing?
It's big enough. It's big enough. So they may, there's a lot of stuff on that is presented in front of us that that can make people feel a bit insecure when it comes to the gym. Like, it's kind of glamorized. It looks like a bit of a luxury. And, we know it's not. But I feel like anything, spirituality as well, fitness became an industry at some point. It isn't. It's inside of us. I've actually made my own definition for fitness and I've hyphenated it. To me, fitness is feeling sound in your body and in your environment. Because oftentimes when people think of fitness, they'll think of a crowded gym, or they'll think of, people, working out with tripods and things like that. And, it's glamorized. They think of equipment. When it's your body that's able to do these things, so they think of things that are beyond themselves. And this one's really unfortunate, is that sometimes they think of a body that isn't even theirs, or a person that isn't even them. So they've kind of separated themselves from the world of fitness. So it has become an industry. It's very fast moving. Now, I don't consider myself an advocate for fitness. That's going to sound kind of shocking to a lot of people. Fitness has enough advocacy. It keeps people awake at night, knowing that they should, and they know why. We know why. I'm here to advocate people back into fitness, so we can start showing, different bodies exercising, showing people that, you don't need to be inside of a gym. Fitness, it doesn't have to be any one thing. It can be sprinkled with aspects of you. So making it more personal and less of a glamorized industry in which it's become. Now, I'm an ally for fitness. It's a very big space. And, we can make a difference if we're doing so in the right way. Same as social media. It can do a lot of good. It's a very vast world. It can do a lot of good. So just, focusing more on the good, personal. Everybody has a right to fitness. It is not a luxury. It is a right we all have.
Right. I mean, social media, you clearly have nailed the social media element. You have a great followership and so forth, and you do this podcast and everything. So clearly that part you have nailed in a good way. And that's positive. Every good message is a good message.
Yeah, absolutely. It really, really is. And, it gives me, and things like this too, opportunities like this provides a space for me to share my voice and what makes me different. Because when people see that I'm a personal trainer, they might think one thing, right? So it just allows me to share, okay, how am I different? And that's where social media is really, really important. And opportunities like this, so, so important for people to share their voice and share their message. Because what people see on my social media feed is very, very different than what they might be used to seeing from other personal trainers. It's like that for a reason.
Right. So you say people come to you. Does everybody know already that you're doing the spiritual and fitness, or people maybe just come for fitness and then you surprise them with spirituality? Is like, is like cat out of the bag? Is this like, or are we, you're already so well known for your channel that everybody expects to also train themselves, and their ghost or guardian angel also is going on the treadmill and has to a little bit lose some weight. Your angel is a bit chubby, too much honey and rosier. So tell us a little bit. It looks very funny to me.
Yeah. It's a little bit different than that. But, and their higher guides offer a lot of encouragement for their life, and it's when people shine the spotlight on themselves and they decide to hire me as a personal trainer, that all of a sudden, just that step in that direction, they're asking for something different. When we ask for something different, anything, it could be anything, what happens with the universe? We start seeing different. We start getting different. So it provides a really positive encouragement for them to keep going, to make it really sustainable, because it's not just about signing up to a workout or an idea of a workout or a fitfluencer. They're signing up for themselves. So it becomes very personal. So they will want to continue because they're going to start seeing life in a different way. So that's where things get a little different. So at the very beginning, as my own story evolved in all this, there was some surprises at the beginning because I was really feeling like, okay, people were signing on for personal training. That's what I'm going to deliver. That's what I'm going to deliver. And then I started receiving these messages, and you receive these messages, you can't not give them, so my job was to deliver these messages. So it did surprise some in the beginning, as it surprised me. Now, as things have evolved and as I've remembered these parts of me, that it is more public now. So people have a better idea of the whole, all-encompassing approach that I deliver. So it did evolve. So yes, there was some surprises at the beginning for myself and for members, but it just was so beautiful.
You said you can't give the information. So do you ask the people, your guardian angel told me something, you want to know, you don't want to know? Or are you just saying, you have to say it because, a message came, I have to deliver it, and, bad luck for you.
It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, there is.
Oh, really?
Very
kind angels you're working with.
Well, I mean, it's some of them, the outcome has all been good. Now, with some of the guidance.
Do you think that all angel messages are good? Because I talk to a lot of angel seers here on the show. Of course I do. And it's interesting, it never came up, but now it comes up in my mind. Are all the messages good and nice, or?
I'm going to be really honest here. Some of the messages that I received have been very blunt and in a tone that that is not me. But what has come out of it has been very good. So it's, and I haven't dealt with anything, and I can sense when maybe there's dark corners that I invite that person to go and explore a little bit more and acknowledge, okay, you could be feeling this way because of something that happened here. So it isn't all light, it isn't all light, but what happens is really, really, really beautiful. So
Sorry, could you give me your idea? Why would an angel want to help a person? What is their motivation? What they get out of it? Is it just basically pure light and they're doing it for the good and no question there? Or they want to improve mankind, they want to light us up, and they want to help each and every individual when they have a person like you can actually deliver the message? Or what's the motivation of the angel?
And I don't know if it's angels, higher guides, their higher self.
It's just a word. Right. It's just a word.
It's the message delivered is something that that person is ready to hear at that time for whatever reason. It's what I receive is what that is meant for that person at that time. So I think it is to get them out of, situations where maybe they have felt like they just couldn't get out of, just something to help. And I do feel like they're for the greater good. There's darkness everywhere. There is darkness spiritually. There is, I've been blessed that I haven't dealt with that at this point, but it is truly so to get people to love themselves or so they can see the connection or their eyes can be open to the beauty around the world, because we walk around with these blinders on, moving forward, and we're just there's all this beauty happening around, all this magic that we just can't see. So you're going on this path and like it's like you're going down the expressway and you want to get off. Your turnoff is coming up, but you can't see because there are people in your blind spots. So I'm that person that helps them to see in these blind spots. They're still driving the car, but they can turn off at that exit because that exit might have a beautiful lookout that they're supposed to see, or something is supposed to happen there that they can see. So it's just helping to take those blind spots away so they can see the bigger picture around their life and hopefully start living and not just surviving. So many of us are walking this earthly existence. We have a purpose here, but they're walking around in this autopilot, just going, going, going. And so just if we can just shine the light on ourselves and just give ourselves more love and open our eyes, look up at what's happening around us, there's so much more out there that you could be experiencing, right? So
Did I understand you correctly? Mainly you receive those messages, not like you not initiate them, or you not say, please, can I get a message? It just comes to you if you want or not. It just pop, poof, and there it is.
Yeah.
And that's
so
it.
I think so after our initial meeting, and they sometimes come through, I can kind of catch myself in conversation when something comes through, because I've learned to recognize that. So in real time, sometimes little things that just don't seem like something I would say come out. But what happens is, so after I meet with somebody for our initial conversation and we talk about, their body and other aspects, things in their life, questions that I have for Transform about just getting to know the person. And oftentimes you'll realize that they've forgot aspects of their self. So the things that they used to love, that they pause, they don't know what makes them unique or special. So after, talking, making, learning more about that person. So I sit with that person as I'm planning their workouts, as I'm making recommendations. There's always recommendations for outside of the gym as well that meet them right where they're at. I'm not asking anyone to go over and beyond themselves. People just don't need one more, thing on their plate that just seems too hard to achieve. So making it really, really manageable. And like anything, it will evolve with them. Just like Transform has evolved with me, or podcast has evolved with you. It evolves with them. So I sit with them in my awareness. I do ask if there is anything that I need to know, that I should know to help this person. Is there anything that I can do to help? So call that in. Sometimes it doesn't come right away. So I leave it, and I'll be out in the garden or something, or, out for a walk, and then kaboom, it comes in. So then I'm able to, okay, so I write that down. I put everything into writing for them so they can read it again, read it from their heart space. And so I share that information off to them, and then they can process that and go back to it, over time too. So it's, and then after that, if there's more messages that are ready for them to hear, that gets delivered to them as they come. So, I'll email somebody, or I'll be talking to them if I see them in person. And so I deliver those things to them too. And, or I'll sense, just like I can we can sense and feel what's going on in the collective and in the world. I can sense what's going on with my clients too. So I'll feel something will just come on where I reach out to this person and just give them, and I'm very uplifting. I consider myself quite funny too. So I'll put, kind of lift their spirits when they're maybe feeling a little bit taxed. We've all been there. So just things that just help pick them up so they can move through this life with momentum and more ease.
There's a lot of layers with your work, and it's also, as you said, I also been thinking while you've been talking. I've talked to a lot of people who see these angels, a lot of people from the fitness, and I also never came across about this specific combination. At least I'm still trying it. I always, when I think I'm getting there, I'm not getting there. So
I hear you. Same here.
definitely, you have something very unique going on. And
Yeah.
it's definitely interesting because, of course, the body manifests. So it's quite logic. But if we would spin this forward, if we could make up very funny things, like children dentist and clairvoyant, and or I don't know, hairdresser and clairvoyant. It is starting to. It's funny and amazing in the same time.
And I think we're going to get there, Philip, honestly, with how people are evolving and changing. I think it'll happen, it's just.
Driving instructor and clairvoyant.
Right? Like humans
plumber and clairvoyant. I had a plumber on the show who is clearly spiritual. Wouldn't that be cool?
More and more. We're going to be seeing more and more of it. So, we're so much more than just skin and bones and muscle. Like, and I said to someone the other day in an interview, and transfer fitness coaching isn't just about activating muscle. It's activating memory. So people can remember who they are. Because then, to be honest, then they're going to want to really take care of themselves because they love themselves again. So as a personal trainer, I think it's a beautiful fusion, really.
I would even think that you are the first specimen of a new kind in that sense. I'm really starting to see it. Imagine you go to a restaurant, have a clairvoyant chef. Imagine if they have your qualities and being a chef, and then it just comes to the table that usually the soup is like this and that, but I got a message that you should eat this today, and he puts it in front of you. Just imagine it.
Imagine. And I think, again, it's going to make us appreciate one another a little bit more, because people are going to be able to pick up energy and be like, oh, you know what? Instead of blaming people for their reactions, we're all responsible for our reactions. Don't get me wrong. But instead of blaming or taking things to our own hearts, we'll be able to say, you know what, I was able to pick up the energy around this person. I can sense that something is off. So, I'm going to check in with them in a few days, or offer my support. We'll be able to pick up on those things rather than just blaming one another or taking things as a victim, to these reactions. So I think it's going to help us really understand one another a bit more, which is going to make this world a better place. I have so much hope for that.
Of course you have. The way you look, the way your energy flows. If you're not with hope, who is with hope?
Oh
you
my God.
embody hope.
Yes. Like, honestly, for my kids, I'm excited for their futures, because things always seem a little bit, chaotic, but this is how change happens. This is where things have to become a little bit radical for change to happen. It does in our own lives too. Often, people experience, like, why do I have to experience such to feel good? I wish we didn't. But that seems to be, it has to be enough that we start questioning things. And in the world too. More people are going to question things. Change will happen.
You a little bit stole my next question, but there you go. You're clairvoyant. You're clairvoyant. What can I do? Sorry, dear viewers, but it's out of my hand. Because the next question would have been about children. Clearly, it's on the table. I know that there's a lot going on with certain areas who want to teach clairvoyant qualities to children, bringing even in the school curriculum and stuff like that. And I'm always looking for the right way. I can see that teaching children be more aware of dreaming could be incorporated into schools because they could write about their dreams. But sport is a whole new one. I've never, ever come to the idea that maybe clairvoyant qualities can also come through sport and physical activities, because we must find a way to bring these spiritual techniques into the school, and the more natural it can flow into it, the easier it will be. So have you ever thought about doing some work with kids or some school, or did it ever cross your mind?
Oh my gosh, I wish kids were leading these discussions, to be honest, Philip. We could learn from them. Kids are like the true essence of spirit. And at what point do they lose that piece of themselves? We could learn from them and their actions, and the way that they communicate with one another is so beautiful. I do believe that we should be not just that adults should be teaching them, we should be fostering the magic that they already have. So yes, encouraging them to talk about their dreams when they imagine things or people, not just brush it off as, that it's no big deal or they're just imagining things. Ask them about it. Ask your children questions. Foster this, vast, like, beauty that they have. We're all these children inside of us, and they're full of emotions too. We put kids in timeout because they're expressing their emotions. That's not fair. How can we channel that differently so then they don't feel, ashamed about what they're expressing? We as adults, we're still these really emotional, children inside of us. It's just our bodies are bigger. So we've pushed these, emotions down, we've buried them a little bit, and then they start showing up in our bodies. So if we just foster being expressive and responsible with our emotions, what that can do for children as they grow up. And in sports too, there's a lot of structure in sports and like anything, politics, all that stuff. But if we can just foster, maybe I would love to see a more gentle, having my own kids in sports, I'd love to see a little bit more of a nurturing space in sports. And it does exist, the coach, there's many, many coaches who have a really good understanding of children. But I think children should be leading these discussions. We can learn so much.
I could go on for hours because that is one of my personal favorite subjects. That's children and spirituality. That's one of my big ones. Let us now a little bit, because it seems to be the exciting life of podcasting, but I think that I have an electricity shortage in this part of the house. But
no.
Interestingly enough, the cable to the internet is still with electricity, but I have no more light. And the laptop is running on battery from now on. So I will basically say goodbye in case we just click and you're gone.
No problem.
But let's talk a couple of more minutes until basically, the universe decides to cut us off.
It won't. It won't.
You can channel so much energy that you keep my laptop running.
Exactly. It's just I'm running your laptop.
That's how it looks like from here. But just quick one more time. So I know you do the personal training, you do the online work, you do the channeling. Did you wrote a book or not? I've got this. You're writing.
No, I haven't written a book yet, but it is a dream of mine. I would love
to. Some book is somewhere there spinning around. All right.
Yeah, I do write. I contribute to a magazine, so I do write articles for a magazine. But yeah, a book. Oh my gosh, I love it.
And you would write about your experience?
Oh my gosh, I would write my experiences. It would be really uplifting. I think we just need more positive, there's life. It's always going to throw things at us. But if we can just look at things through different eyes and just, it'd be a whole different experience. So just a really uplifting book and how, and the power of healing and, the connection. So many people have a disconnect when it comes to their body. We think it's so separate from everything else. I've seen people blame their body, fear their body, lose trust in their body, when the body is trying to send messages. That's what it's been doing the whole time. It just presents itself maybe through symptoms. It's in our logical mind, our thinking mind will try to just, create every scenario when it comes to our body and try to fix things, or people will give their power away to other things just to help with their symptoms of their body. So it's just decoding those messages that the body is sending to them, which I can help do
Eh,
in a lot of
eh,
cases. But
Do you see yourself in 10 years from now still working at what you do today, or is there something coming up?
oh my gosh, that's really interesting that you asked that. And you're channeling something for me right now, is that recently something's coming. And I feel like I don't know what it is yet. Of course, we don't have the big picture, but I have this really strong sense that something is coming and I'm about to meet the next version of myself who's already living, breathing, doing the work. So I'm here resting in this space right now with this version of me, really embracing what I'm doing. But I think that there's something coming and I can't wait to find out what it is, and I'll fill you in on it when it does happen. But yeah,
To me, it feels that you have outgrown the current you.
it's really interesting that you say that. Yeah. And I love it. And I'm so grateful. But yeah, it's feeling like I have that familiar feeling where something's stirring again. But I'm at the same time just really, I'm not nervous. I'm not scared. I'm just very at peace with what's next. And it's probably going to be something that, that maybe, my logical mind wouldn't have even thought of or chosen for myself. So I'm excited to see what the future holds.
Yes. So that's what happens, dear audience, when you talk to channels, you become a channel. There's nothing you can do about it.
Exactly.
If you want or not, the
Like a
messages are coming
receiver.
and you're like,
Yeah. You
pass
start
it.
tuning into the frequency.
I learned from the best. I just pass it on.
Yeah. It's so great. We're so magical. Like are you in Germany?
No, oh, I'm Austrian.
Oh, you're
Small.
Austrian. Okay.
We are 8 million people, and there are more than 80. So
80.
we have to fight for our independence. We have to fight for our existence
Oh,
because we unfortunately speak the same language. So everybody's confusing us, and they're almost 80 something million people, and we are just little 8 million. Going for
no.
our
Own your
mountains and forests.
sovereignty. Own your sovereignty. Yeah.
Yes,
So,
and
but
we
it's
and
really
historically we used to be the much bigger nation. Throughout most
okay.
part of history, we were a super large nation, one of the biggest nations on earth for some time. And then we lost everything in all the wars, and now we're a tiny, teeny country. So we are proud Austrians. Yeah.
Yeah, you should be. You should be. But it's really neat. And as from a spiritual side, there's parts of technology that I don't love. But in situations like this, where we're so magical that even though we're so far apart from each other in location, that consciousness is so vast that I feel like you're sitting here at the island with me and we're having this conversation. I can through words feel your energy and you're able to pick up on mine. Like there's these little antennas and we're just tuning into each other's frequency. So technology is a beautiful thing that we can have these conversations through very different parts of the world, but feel like we're right together. So I love that I'm doing what I'm doing when I'm doing it in this time of life where these things exist. There were things that I wish didn't exist, but I mean, as far as humans go, whenever there's humans, things are going to be complicated. But I'm blessed that technology exists for situations like this where we can, two like-minded people connect. What?
Dear audience, I warned you it's going to be nice and positive. So trigger warning. We're going to laugh and have a good time.
Your
Uh,
mid-file.
yes,
Yeah.
just everybody breathe. It's okay. Still not completely forbidden to have human connect.
Happening in Austria. You guys, smile.
Yeah, these days you have to be a warning for everything.
And even just laughing, it changes everything. Not only physically does it actually help your body, but it actually just changes things around. It just is like a reset button, just laugh, smile.
Caren, I'll say thank you so much for this wonderful conversation. Of course, all the links and everything will be down there, all of it, and I'm can't wait to hear your new steps coming up. And when the next transformational cocooning has happened, I can't wait to see what's coming up next. Thank you so very much. Is this a part of Canada where you have a lot of snow? I see this roof. I always, all the time, think it'll be 2 meters of snow, or is it not that part?
Well, there was a lot of snow this winter.
Ah.
Like right now, it's sunny and like
And
30
now,
degrees.
but you have
Beautiful.
heavy winters?
We do. Yeah, we do. Now, I'm
Ah.
actually from really up north. Like I'm from Thunder Bay. Maybe some viewers listening to this will know where that is, but it is very, very up north. So it's very snowy, very cold. Now, this is considered Southern Ontario. So, it's, only like -20, -12, -50.
I mean, I'm from a mountain country. We have cold and snow as well, but not like
Yeah.
you guys, but we are a mountain country.
Yeah, so you'll have more snow in like more elevated parts probably, and then less.
We have
Yeah.
generally snow. We have snow, but then, of course, up there in the mountains, we have a lot of snow. We are a skiing nation and stuff like that. But maybe that's the energy, this coldness, the snow that always requires that kind of a drive. So that explains a lot. It was so beautiful watching your energy. It was so beautiful seeing all this positive spirit. I will forget everything about your previous life and just meet you just now and today. And that is definitely a great pleasure. Thank you so very much for being part of my podcast and bringing light, love, and joy to my audience. Thank you so very much, Caren.
Thank you for having me, Philip.